Answer 5 questions, choosing at least 2 from each section. All questions carry equal marks. You are reminded of the necessity for good English and orderly presentation in your answers. Section A. With the use of examples, differentiate between positive and normative statements. Why do economists disagree? Normative statements are based on opinions or ethics, what someone believes should be. Positive statements, on the other hand, are testable, even if they may not necessarily be true. For example, VAT is rising is a statement that can be proved by comparing the tax rate from previous years to the current year. However, a normative statement is a value judgment. This means that they are subjective and are based on an opinion rather than actual evidence. These type of statements tend to include words like should, could, and unfair. Why do economists disagree? Economists disagree because most of them usually fall into the 2 competing economic schools of thought, Keynesian economics and free market economics. Show how a firm in monopolistic competition will determine its price and output in the short run and long run. Give the characteristics of monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, since the product is differentiated between firms, each firm does not have a perfectly elastic demand for its products. In such a market, all firms determine the price of their own products. Therefore, it faces a downward sloping demand curve. The price is determined at a point where the imaginary line from the equilibrium output passes through the point of intersection of the MR and the curves and meets the average revenue R curve, which is also the demand curve. Give the characteristics of a monopolistic competition. 1. In monopolistic competition, supply and demand forces do not dictate pricing. 2. Product differentiation is the key feature of monopolistic competition. 3. Demand is highly elastic, and any change in pricing can cause demand to shift from one competitor to another. Explain the advantages and disadvantages of government intervention in the location of industries. What are the disadvantages that sole proprietors face in Cameroon? The advantages of government intervention include correcting market failures, promoting economic stability, and achieving social and political objectives. The disadvantages include inefficiency, bureaucracy, and unintended consequences. What are the disadvantages that sole proprietors face in Cameroon? Owner liability, unlimited personal liability, responsibility for capital contributions, challenges securing capital investments, higher tax rates. Define terms of trade. Define terms of trade and shade, and show when it can be favorable and when it can be favorable and unfavorable. Favorable. What are the disadvantages of tariffs? The disadvantages of tariffs as a means of trade restriction. Terms of trade is the ratio of an index of a country's export prices to an index of its import prices. If the export prices increase more than the import prices, a country has a positive trade. As for the same amount of exports, it can purchase more imports. Unfavorable terms of trade for developing countries refer to a situation where the value of their exports decreases relative to the value of their imports. This results from a range of factors, such as the Prebisch-Singer hypothesis, lack of diversification, market imbalances, and protectionist policies. What are the disadvantages of tariffs as a means of trade restriction? Raise the price of the good or service because of increased taxes. May lead to shortages by discouraging one country from exporting goods or services to another. Increased friction between two countries, hurting their long-term relationship. Protect domestic companies from foreign competition. While that builds local economies, it eliminates the competition that provides quality and affordable products to consumers. Negatively impact the economy through reduction of competition among manufacturers and short supply of products. How can direct taxes be used to reduce income inequality in a country? What are the disadvantages of value-added tax, VAT, to an economy? To begin with, direct taxation creates less burden to raise a certain amount of tax revenue, leading to the least allocative inefficiency. Next, direct taxation improves income distribution and helps reduce income inequality. What are the disadvantages of value-added tax, VAT, to an economy? Expand the size and cost of government. Countries with VATs have, on average, a 40% heavier total tax burden than those without VATs. Slow economic growth and destroy jobs. Increase the budget deficit. Impose heavy administrative costs. Increase prices. GCE Advanced Level Economics, Paper 2, 2024 revisions. Questions and answers. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Thank you.